Hello, dear listener, and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland. This is the Arsenal preview of Arsenal v Newcastle United, and I'm joined by the glamorous Dom from sunny Canada. You right, Dom?
I am alright. It's actually sunny too, which is quite nice.
Makes a change.
Yeah, a good 3 months of grey. So
Anyway, right. Yeah, we're playing Newcastle tomorrow after some really good results for us at the weekend, mainly Spurs losing, which is going to make us all happy whether we win or lose. So if we look back at Arsenal-Newcastle, the last 5 meetings, do you want to say what they were and who scored?
now you can.
Hey,
You've got
right.
it memorised.
Last season, beat them 1-0. This is the only plan the last 5 seasons at the Emirates. Last season, we beat them 1-0. Ozil scored. 2 seasons before that, because they got relegated, we beat them again 1-0 and Koscielny scored. Season before that, beat them 4-1. Giroud got 2 and Cazorla got 2. Season before that, we beat them 3-0. Koscielny, Ozil and Giroud. And the season before that was magnificent. Remember that game, 7-3. Walcott got a hat-trick. The Ox got 1. Podolski, I miss Podolski, got 1. And Giroud got 2. So that's a pretty decent run of games against a team that they're not exactly rubbish, are they?
No, they're decent enough. They've obviously had a few little issues over the last few years with ownership, etc. That's been well documented. But in terms of their on-pitch performances, they're definitely capable of giving you the business.
Good. Yeah, I quite like Newcastle. They're one of my favourite teams. I'd like to see them do well, but yeah, the owner, not a good thing. Right, if we look at current league form, am I reading all these bits out, or do you want to do any of them?
No, you've got this stuff memorised.
Yeah.
It's like a stat machine.
Yeah. Everyone knows I've got all this memorised after all these years. Right, current league form, last 6 games. So Arsenal's last 6 home games in the Premier League, we've won all 6 as part of a run of 9 consecutive home league wins. That's just magnificent, isn't it? Every time I look at that, I think, have we really only lost 1 game at home all season?
Yeah, it's definitely even going back to last season, our home form was incredible. It was the away form that was putrid. So it's nice to have a home ground where it does feel like you've got that little bit of a fortress there. And you want opposition teams to turn up knowing these stats, don't you? You want them to turn up thinking, man, these guys have only lost once here all season. This is not going to be easy. And it kind of a little bit of a psychological game there, I think, which can definitely be a big help. But the players, I can guarantee the players feel it too.
Yeah, that was a question on last week's pod. What difference does it make playing home from away? And I can't remember what my answer was, but yeah, I think Kevin Campbell might have answered that as well when I was doing a show with my old mate Kev. In those our last 6 home league games, we scored 17, conceded 3, and had 3 clean sheets. That's,
I bet Jenkinson was playing through those 3 clean sheets too.
Well, not a lot of people know that he's played 68 games for Arsenal when we have won every single time that he's played. That, dear listener, is a fact. Don't look it up. Just believe
so
me.
When everyone thinks I'm taking the piss when I tweet about Jenkinson needing to start and play every week, I'm not serious.
I love him. He's brilliant.
The stats speak for themselves.
But then you look at Newcastle's away form in the Premier League. The last 6 games, no wins, 3 draws, 3 losses. They've scored 5 goals. They've conceded 9 and had no clean sheets. Doesn't bode well for Newcastle, does it?
Well, if the game was played on paper, then you'd chalk us down for a victory. But as we know, that's not necessarily how it all works, is it?
Well, not anymore, sadly. Right, injuries and suspensions. Lucas Torreira suspended. Who did he get sent off against Man United? Or was it the game before that? I can never remember.
I can't remember.
We had a bout of sendings off, didn't we? We had Socrates in the against Lens. We had Lacazette, and then we had Torreira. So other injuries, well, Welbeck is out of an ankle injury. He's back in training now. Have you seen the pictures of him training?
I did. I've seen him running, which is nice that he's able to put some pressure on there. He's still got a long way to go. That's still very early stages of the rehab. So,
weren't you saying that it's okay him running, but it's when he's got to do those turns, something like that?
Yeah, well, the way that he injured his ankle, a lot of the damage comes structurally. So stability is a big thing. But running in a straight line, you're not really having to put that much pressure on those particular ligaments. It's when you start to go laterally and change direction quickly, how stable the ankle joint is to be able to hold solid and maintain that pressure and still not, give out. So yeah, he's not going to be doing too much of that just yet, but running in a straight line is obviously the first step. And if he has no issues from there, then they'll progress through. But it's still, I think people might see that he's running and think, oh, well, he must be back in a couple of weeks, but that's probably not going to be the case.
All right, Rob Holding, knee injury. What do you know about that? And it's going to be back around Christmas, isn't he?
Next Christmas?
Yeah.
When did he do it?
Wasn't it against
Around
Man United
Christmas,
in the
was it?
FA Cup? So that would have been January.
Yeah, I'd say around December maybe. It depends. He's a young guy, and so much of this just depends on how well they respond to the rehab, because it's not just the injury will be healed in 3 months, and it's how long it takes to build everything back up. You get a lot of muscle wastage. It's called atrophy, where the quad muscles will start to disappear because you're not using them, and you've got to build them back up. And then there's biomechanical changes that you have to worry about, and there's just a long road back, and some will respond very quickly and some will take a little bit more time. But yeah, around December probably he should be able to get back into playing.
And finally, Hector Bellerin, cruciate ligament rupture. How bad was that?
Same injury, exactly the same injury. Yep. So
they,
count 12 months from when he did it, and that's around about when he should be getting back to competitive football if everything goes well. The thing they both have on their side is their age. It really does help being a younger athlete to bounce back from those particular injuries.
Righto, Newcastle, they've got Sean Longstaff, never heard of him, central midfielder. He's out of a knee injury. And Fabian Schär, their centre-back, is suspended. He's one of their best players. We'll talk about their best players in a little bit. Now, I went back and had a look at the formations. Now, Newcastle's last few, formations this season in the Premier League, they started out playing a kind of 4-4-1-1. Then they moved on to a 4-4-2. Then they dabbled between the two back and forth for a little while. And recently they've been playing a 3-4-3 or a 5-4-1. Now, he's not playing one of those at home or one of those away. He's sticking with a core of three at the back, and then he's playing, always playing, one of their best players is, who was it? Richie. Yeah, Richie's been playing either left back, left wing back, or occasionally left midfield. So I don't think it really matters to us what formation they play. But do you think that maybe they're going to come and defend for their lives? I think, didn't we see them do that on TV recently? And they were terrible.
I think so. I think, if you're going to come to the Emirates and try and go head to head playing football against us, we've seen even Liverpool when they tried to do that. We cut them open quite easily. We're just that kind of team, that plays into our strength. So I dare say that they're going to put 3 to 5 at the back, and they'll sit defend, and they'll be happy with 30% possession and launch some counter attacks and see if they can get us on the break, which is a little bit of our Achilles heel. So they'd be silly to not do that.
Yeah, the thing we've got, I'm almost certain they're going to be playing 5 at the back, 4 in midfield, playing 1 up front, which will probably be Rondon. But then they're 5 at the back. They've got Clark there, one of their best players. He's Schlar. They're one of their best players, a centre back. He's not playing. Their left-sided wing back is a bit like a Monreal, where he's not really a centre back. So if he plays out wide, he has to slip in and take as part of the back three. That could be some we can.
How do you think Emery's going to line up then, knowing that they're going to be quite defensive?
I think he's realised that you can play. Torreira ain't playing, so it's going to be Xhaka and Ramsey in the middle. It's going to be Ozil ahead of them, and it's going to be Lacazette and Aubameyang up front. And then maybe later on do what he did against. I can't remember the last game we played, but then he took off. I think he took off Lacazette and possibly one of Ozil or Ramsey, and he brought on Mkhitaryan and Iwobi. So you've got 2 different types of football that you can play there. What would you do?
Do you think he'll start with a back 3 or a back 4?
I think he's liking the back 3 because Monreal can then play at left centre back, Kolasinac at left wing back, and Maitland-Niles.
He's been Kolasinac has been one of our best attacking outlets, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting because I feel if we're able to start with a back 3, potentially see how we go for a half, and if it's because the thing is they're not going to be that much of an attacking threat. So is it worth having 3 centre backs? Because they're going to play 1 up front.
Yeah, I mean he may go at 4 at the back, and because like I say they're only going to play 1 up front, but
an extra winger or an extra midfielder or something like that, perhaps.
Kolasinac down that left hand side. I think I keep saying his name wrong. The way he's getting some of those crosses in, because you don't know what he's going to do, and you're not going to knock him off the ball. I remember when we used to play Theo Walcott on the right wing, and then every time you get knocked off the ball, and we saw Serge Gnabry when he played there, you thought, well, that bloke is a beast. And no one could knock him off the ball, and it's the same with Kolasinac on the left-hand side. It's brilliant to have him there. You've got the sturdiness and the Hulk size of him there, but on the right-hand side, we've got Maitland-Niles, no one can catch him.
It feels like that Emery wants to play a back 3 with Kolasinac on the left wing back spot.
Yeah.
And if we're playing a back 4, he just plays Monreal in a classic left back spot. as a bit more of a defensive measure. Have you noticed that? Or
yeah, I think the only reason he doesn't play a back four more is because you can play at right back. Maitland-Niles isn't a right back. His main part is
Danny.
Yeah, Jenkinson. That's who I'd play. I love Jenkinson, and he can get forward. Because if
he had a game this year where, I mean, he's not like Kolasinac where he's just been like exceptional in certain games. You know that he's not going to put on a worldy performance, but I feel like he's a lot better than Lichtsteiner at right back.
I don't want Lichtsteiner to play at all. Lichtsteiner can only defend and hit people. Jenkinson can defend and get forward. And Maitland-Niles, as he's a developing player, all he can do is get forward and track back. But he's no defender, is he? You don't want him trying to do a bit of defending on the edge of the box, do you?
Well, we've lost Chesney. We've lost Wilshere. We don't have... who else was there? You know, like the Banter Kings have gone. And I feel like that we need to add a little bit of that back into the team with Jenko.
I'm just looking at the thing now to see if I can find where is he? Oh, there he is, Jenkinson. Yeah, he's the last game he played, we beat Bournemouth 5-1. The game before that he played, we beat Cardiff 2-1, and then he didn't play. That's the only 2 league games he's played this season. 100% success rate. I mean, what else do you want from a player?
Can't argue with that. You know, it's a great sample size. You know, 2 games.
Stats don't lie. Anyway, Newcastle's best players. You've got Rondon, who they got from West Brom last season. He was one of their best players. This season, 9 goals, 5 assists in 25 Premier League games. He plays up front on his own, mainly in the 1. The next best player is Perez. He has played 30 league games, 6 goals, 2 assists. And when he's not playing as a support striker, he plays on the right-hand side, kind of a Theo Walcott kind of position. This is all from Transfer Market. I can't remember ever seeing him play. And then the next 2 best players are Clark, the centre-back, and Schlar. They've both got 3 goals. I mean, when your second, third and fourth top goal scorers are your centre-backs, you're in a little bit of trouble there, aren't you?
Yeah, but at the same time, when you talk about... Newcastle as a team at the moment and the run of form they've been on and where they're at and how they play, like you said, with Rondon being basically by himself, there's some pretty good numbers. His stats are not bad for all things considered, are they? You know, he's not like he's playing up front in a top 4 team, being surrounded by attacking creative players. He's doing quite well for the position that he's in, I'd say. So yeah, he's definitely a bit of a threat.
Yeah, when you look at them, Newcastle are doing all right because of what their home record is like at home. They're pretty good. I mean, just looking at their recent home record, they beat Everton 3-2, they beat Burnley 2-0, beat Huddersfield 2-0. They even beat Man City in the end of January. They beat Man City 2-1. They beat Cardiff 3-0. So at home, they're really good. It's just away they're really struggling. But
it's always a worry for us, though, after international games, isn't it? I don't know if anyone else feels like that, but you know, when you have that big break of time off football, that first game back's always a bit of a wild card.
We had that decent win, though, away at the world-renowned Al Nassr we played in Dubai. So, I was surprised by so many decent players went over there, but Czech doesn't play for the Czech Republic anymore, and Ozil isn't playing for Germany, and there's quite a few decent players there. So they've had some game time. And the other...
A lot of travelling, though.
Yeah, it is a long old way. A couple of other players to look out for. They got Richie, who it's got him down as a kind of left midfield, but like I was saying earlier, he plays left back, left wing back, left midfield. He covers all them positions. And our very own Zach Hayden used to play for Arsenal, youth player. We sold him to Hull, had a decent time with Hull. Newcastle bought him, playing him. He's a defensive midfielder, but they've been playing him central midfield quite a lot. And he has 3 assists this season, and Richie has 4 assists. So there's not many goals coming from many different places. So we've got 49 seconds to go, and then we're under 15 minutes. What's your predictions for the game then? A score, and what do you think is going to happen?
I'm going to be optimistic and say 2-0, Lacazette first scorer.
Oh, very good. This is either going to be a 1-0 and they're going to put up a great fight. I think it depends on how early we score, because if we score early, they're going to be less defensive. So I'm going to go for a slobber knocker of a 4-1. So I think it's going to be 2 for Aubameyang, 2 for Lacazette.
I'll take it.
Yes. When will we see you next on a podcast or an ABW live show? Any idea?
Hopefully the radio show. Next time the game is on a Saturday and or Sunday and not at stupid o'clock start time. So.
Yes, so tomorrow the kickoff is around 7, 8 o'clock, something like that. I can't remember. And tomorrow night it's going to be, I think it's Josh, Ellis and one other. They will be live 10 minutes after the game finishes, and come and join us then. So Thank you very much for joining me, Dom.
No problem, Danny. All pleasure as always.
Yes, I'm loving your headphones. And we will see you after the game tomorrow. So, goodbye.